So in this video, we're going to be building a basic homepage for your website in Kajabi. If you're just getting started with your online business, it probably feels like there's a lot you have to do, and creating a whole website can feel really overwhelming. So for now, we're just going to start with one page. As long as you include on that page what you do, who you serve, and how to contact you, you really don't need anything else. So you can get this done in about 2 hours. And if you're feeling stressed about the idea of building a whole website, don't worry about that. Just block off 2 hours in your calendar sometime in the next week and make it a goal to get your homepage built. So when you first get into Kajabi, you'll see that there's already a default homepage set up for you, but I don't like the one that they make. It's really limited in terms of both analytics and design, and it's just as easy to create a landing page and then set that to be your homepage. So at the end of the video, I'll show you how to set this landing page to be your homepage. And the good thing about doing it this way is that once you set up one page to look the way you like it with your brand fonts and colors, then you can clone that for all the other pages of your website and just update the copy. So there are 2 videos that you should watch before this one if you haven't already. One is going to be setting up your branding board, which is a one sheet with your logo, your brand colors, brand fonts, and your mission statement. The other video covers setting up your Kajabi site details, which includes your logo, your favicon, and your brand colors. And there are links to those videos below this one, and this one's really just not going to make a lot of sense unless you go through those first. So like I said, we're building a really basic homepage right now. The next video in this series will cover setting up your lead magnet and linking to it from your homepage. And as this video series goes on, we're going to be building more pages and setting up the navigation of your site. So by the end, you'll have a full website built. That's my goal. So let's get started.
So I'm going to show you a preview of what this is going to look like once we're finished. This is modeled after a coaching website. Up at the top, it's got a version of your mission statement and then a little about you section, and then an opportunity for people to contact you. So this is just the basics of your homepage, of your website when you're first getting started, what you really should be including on your homepage. So we're going to build this in Kajabi. You'll go to website, pages, and also as I'm doing this, I like to have my branding board pulled up. It's got my logo, my brand colors, a mood board with some images that I might use, my brand fonts, and then my mission statement. So having this pulled up is going to make it a lot easier for you to put together your homepage. And I've got a link below this video about setting up a branding board. But within Kajabi, you'll go to New Page, and you can use that streamlined home page. Give it a title, and then Create. So you'll see that the stuff that we set up last time is already installed. That logo is there in the header. And then if you preview, you'll see that that favicon that we created last time is installed. And also brand colors. If you want to change the background color of a section, if you click in there, you'll see that our brand colors are loaded. So everything we set up last time in the site details is going to appear on every page moving forward. So this page has sections and settings. We'll go into settings first. If you click favicon, nothing appears there, but you know that it's installed because you can see it appearing there when you preview the page. Because the favicon is going to be universal across your site. Now you can update your primary color. I'm going to select that magenta. And then if you save, the color of that button gets changed right away. You can select your fonts now. The body font is going to be that smaller text, and the header font is that bigger text. So here's where having the branding board up comes in handy, because I can see which fonts I have. I'm going to change my body font to Josephine Sands. And I'll change my heading font to Brie Serif. And as soon as you click Save, it's going to be updated on the page. So that's all I'm going to do for settings. We're going to go into sections now. So your header is that up at the top there that has some navigation, which at this point you don't need because you don't have a library or blog. You don't have any of that stuff. Now you can't delete your header, but what you can do is hide it. And we're going to use it later on once you build out more of your site. But for now, you can hide it under desktop layout and mobile layout because you really don't need it. We're going to do the same thing with the footer. Under desktop layout, hide footer, and mobile layout, hide footer, because they don't really add anything to the page at this point. So next we have this hero section, which I like to include my mission statement here. So you can rename that section just so it's easier kind of for you to understand what you're including. And I'm going to take a version of this mission statement and add it to that text block. If you click those little arrows, you can expand this, which makes it easier to type in there. I'm just going to update the text here. Again, put a version of my mission statement below and just clean up the formatting a little bit. And then save. So this, real quick, people will see who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. That background right now is just that black. I want to add an image there, and Kajabi will tell you what dimensions it should be. I already created an image in Canva and downloaded it. So I'm just going to upload it to this section here. So you see that background image appears on the left, but you don't see it on the actual page. If you go down to background color, it's because that black or dark gray is selected. If you click on that color wheel, you can lighten that. So now we're starting to be able to see the image. And if you go all the way up, it makes the text hard to read because it's white. So you have a couple options to make the text easier to read. One, you can do it's called an overlay over that background picture to make it a little darker so there's more contrast with the white text. Or what you can do, if you don't want to make the whole image dark, if you go down to block background color, so you can add color just behind the text. And again, you can lighten this on that color wheel so that you can kind of see the woman behind it, but you're also able to read that text more easily. So you can play around with this a little bit. Now, I don't really like the block right in the middle of the page, so I'm going to go down to desktop layout. And under outside spacing, it's all zeros right now. I'm going to increase that so that gives you more space on the right-hand side of the page and moves that text block over to the left. So let's preview what it's looking like. That's good. I want it even further to the left, and you can do negative numbers actually. So we'll do negative 100, save it, and then preview the home page. So it just moves it a little bit further over to the left, but you can see the picture of the woman more easily. So I think that that's better. Now your call to action button, I want that lined up under the text too, so I'm just going to use the same numbers under the desktop layout section to move it over so it's lined up with that text block. We're going to go back. Now we've got our mission statement. So Kajabi again comes loaded with a bunch of different sections. I don't need most of these. So if you go to that 3 dots, you can rename, duplicate, delete, or hide. I'm going to delete most of them. Actually, this text and image, I'm going to rename about. So that's going to be your about section, about you. And then I'll just delete these other sections that I don't want to use right now. So if you click into the about section, it comes loaded with a text block and an image block. And we're going to update the image. This would be a picture of you. Again, Kajabi shows you what dimensions you should be using. And I'm just using a stock image that I already downloaded. And then going into that text block, I'm going to click those arrows to make it bigger so it's easier to update. And here you're just going to talk a little bit about what it is, your background, why you're qualified to be teaching about this. So, and I'm just pasting in some text that I already wrote and save. But now I realize I want a title across the whole top of that section. So I'm going to actually copy this text. And when I deleted it, it made that copy too big. So if you go to Formats, this is where you can change it. If you go to Blocks and Paragraph, that will change it to the body font, which I set to that Josephine Sands. So that's how it's appearing there. Now I still need to add a title, so I'll go to Add Content. And these are all your options. I'm going to choose text. So I want to use that title that I already created. Now it's obviously not right. I want it to stretch across the entire width of the page. So you can update the number of columns under width. And then under Formats, Alignment, you can center it. And you can just drag that block up to the top of the page, or to the top of that section. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. And I'm going to add another text block to kind of tell the rest of my story down there below the image. Again, I'm going to make it wide. And this is copy that I already composed. I'm going to make it full screen again so I can format it more easily. So if you're wondering what formats those fonts are in, if you click source code, you see up at the top there's that P in brackets. That means that whole top section is your paragraph. And then H4 means heading 4. That bottom part, if you're ready to take back your life, is heading 4. So you can change it. You can make it bigger. And then if you click source code again, you'll see H1. So you just changed it to heading 1. So that's a good trick so that you know what format your font is in, and you can match it across sections if you want. So you click full screen again to make it smaller. Go back to this editing section, and we'll click save. So we're saying here, if you're ready to take back your life, contact me, but we have no option for them to contact you. So we're going to go back to that text block, and under call to action, we're going to include CTA. When you check that box, that button is going to appear. And we're going to update the text. And then we'll set the button action in a minute. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to do some formatting here. I like to make the button bigger, and I want to center it. So under desktop layout, I'm going to click that text alignment centered. And you can do the same thing under mobile. It would probably be right about in the middle of a phone anyway. We'll just preview what this page is looking like. Now let's say that under the About section, you want to put a background image there. So you'll go into Kajabi. Under your background image, you can choose a file. Again, this is something I already downloaded. A picture of clouds. That's going to go behind. Again, so you can see it under background image, but it's not appearing on the page. That's because under background media type, you need to switch that from none to image and check the background color. Those are two things that I used to forget a lot. So if your image isn't appearing, check background media type and background color. Now that I have it, I don't really like it, so I'm just going to click. I'm going to change background media type to none. I think that looks better. Now you'll see there's a lot of white up above at the top of that section. If you want to change that, you can go to desktop layout, and you'll see this desktop section padding defaults to 100 at the top and 100 at the bottom. If you just change that to 0, it goes all the way up. I think I want a little bit of padding, so I'll enter 20. And at the bottom, there's some white space there, a little bit more than I want. So I'm just going to change 100 to 50 and then click Save. So now we have these call to action buttons on our page, but we don't have a button action set up yet. I'm actually going to change the button size to large. I think always having a larger button is probably a good idea. So the way that we set up the button action is, first, we have to go down to the section labeled two-step opt-in. If you click there, and then we want to edit two-step pop-up, so we're going to check that box to see what it looks like. And it comes loaded with an image and form block. And you can add content to this. You could actually include like a video of yourself or something else. For now, I'm just going to delete this image just because we're trying to make this really simple. So under form now, there's no form selected. It says click here to select a form to display. We're going to set that up in just a minute, but we're going to update this text. Join our free trial doesn't make sense for what you're trying to communicate, so we'll update that text there. Now we're going to set up our form right on the spot. If you click Edit Your Forms, it takes you to this Forms page. You'll click New Form and give your form a title. So this send double opt-in email to new contacts. That means that they're going to get an email after they submit the form saying, are you sure you want to be on the list? I would say that for a contact form, that's really not necessary. They're going out of their way to contact you. So I would uncheck that send double opt-in. All forms come with a name and email field, and you can add more fields to the form. These are the ones that Kajabi comes with. I'm going to create a new field because you just want to know a little bit about this person and why they're contacting you. If you change the type to text area, they can type a little bit more there. Now, under after submission, this part's important. You want to send a notification to your team. So you can enter your email address there. Remember to click enter so it actually gets logged in that little box. And you can add more email addresses, like if you have an assistant or a team member, you just do the same thing, enter their email address and click enter. Which I'm going to delete that one because that's not a real thing. Click save. Now in your page, under form, that contact form is going to appear. And you'll see that it has those fields that you just set. I'm going to change this button to be smaller. If you click auto, it makes it like the size of the text, which I think looks better. We're going to click save. So now that form is still appearing because we still have the two-step opt-in, the edit two-step opt-in, two-step pop-up box checked. So we'll uncheck that so it goes away. So now we've set the two-step opt-in, but our buttons aren't yet connected to it. So I'm going to change the text of this top button on the page, and then you need to set your button action to be go open the two-step opt-in pop-up. We'll save that. And then the second button on the page is going to be the same action. The same thing is going to happen. And save. So we're going to preview the home page. I'm going to refresh it. Up at the top is a brief intro to who you are. That call to action button, let's get started, is above the fold, meaning that people don't have to scroll down to get to it. You always want to have an action button be right at the top. And then a little bit about who you are, why you're a credible source, another contact option. Okay, so that's it. That's it for your home page. Now we're going to edit your page details. So in Kajabi, you'll go to website, pages. Here's where all your pages are listed. If you go to the three dots and edit details, this is where you can change the title. So, and we're gonna update it here to just, this is kind of briefly who you are. And I'll show you where that would appear, where that title appears. We're previewing it, and that title appears now up at the top of the browser window. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it better. Now you also have an option of a page title here, which is actually going to overwrite what we just did. You'll enter your page description. You don't want to hide page from search engines, I wouldn't imagine. You want to add a page image. So in Canva, we're going to create a design. And it tells you what the dimensions should be, 1280 by 720. So I just want to have a screenshot of my homepage. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can get more of the page here, and I'll click print screen on my keyboard and then paste that into Canva. I'm going to crop this down so that it's just that top hero section, and then I'm going to stretch it out a little bit, move it, and center it. Okay, now I'll download this image. Going back into Kajabi, select image. I'm going to select that image that I just created. And I'll show you in a sec. I'll show you in a second where this all appears. So we're going to save this. Under SEO and sharing, this is what Google or any search engine is going to look at. So you want to make sure that you have the important keywords within both your title and description. Now, if you want to share your homepage, we're going to copy the link and go into Facebook. So if you want to share it on social media or LinkedIn or anywhere, this is how those page details will appear. I'm going to go to Create Post and then just paste in that link. So there's the page image that we just created, and then the page title appears right there. So that's why you set that up, is so that people can see that really easily. So now, as you'll recall, Kajabi will have created its own homepage for your site. So if we preview, this is what my website currently looks like, but I don't want that. I want to use the landing page we just created. So you'll go to Settings, Site Details. You see right there, control the home page of your website. So under Site Details, you're going to go down to Homepage. Right now, it's Show the Theme homepage, but we're going to change that to Show a Landing Page, and then we're going to select that landing page that we've created as our homepage. So now if you refresh, you've got this as your homepage instead of the one that Kajabi comes with.